And good evening, everyone, and welcome into the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. I'm your host, Russ Renault. Thanks again for joining us here on another Sunday evening in Texas, where we open up a box of hobby cards, UFC trading cards, and we preview UFC 287. If this is your first time joining in on the show, tell you what we're about. That we're going to talk about fights, and we're going to open a box of cards later on in the show, and we'll get to our hobby top five, and we'll tell you what to look for here in the coming weeks. What we're opening next week, and then looking ahead to the release of 2023 Panini Prism, the UFC edition. So just want to tell you a little bit about our community, that this is a safe spot, that we want kids to get involved in the hobby and help them along, and just answer any questions for anybody just starting out. Not just kids, but anybody just starting out, starting to collect UFC cards. Tell us who you're looking for and who you collect. You can use the chat, and that's a good spot to start. Just tell me who you're looking for, and we can talk about that, who you collect. I'll tell you who I collect and just what we're going to be looking for here on the show. Tonight we're going to be opening a box of 2015 Topps Chronicles, and this is a hobby box, and we try to open a hobby box every week, and this is the one we have for this week. We're kind of filling in a little bit as we await that release of the 2023 Panini Prism. We're going to try to get as much of that as we can possibly get, and we'll be opening that on the show as we go along in the coming weeks, but we've got to wait on that release, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Just want to tell you more about this show, and we're just starting out. This is actually our 10th episode, and we're live every Sunday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, right here in the Houston area. And what we do on here is talk about the recent UFC card, what happened usually the night before. We didn't have one this week. Then we talk about what's coming up the next week, and looking a little bit ahead in the future. Then we do what we call our hobby top five, is the top five fighters that people are collecting right now, not necessarily the top, pound for pound fighters at the moment, but just the ones that are the hottest in the hobby, just based on who people are asking about, the highest prices in breaks, and just overall buzz that's going on in the hobby world. And then we'll take a look at what we pulled the last couple of weeks, some of the stuff that we pulled out. I'll tell you a little bit about what we pulled out of last week's break of, not necessarily a break, but we opened a box of 2020 Topps. That was a hobby box as well, and so got a pretty good hit in there. We've got some left. Everything on the show is available. You can contact me at russ@orange-fire.com. You can find me on social media at FightCardsRuss or at Orange Fire Media on social media platforms. And, everything, like I said, everything on here is available. I want to put these cards in your hands. So we just open these on the show for fun, and just want people to get started on their UFC collection, add to their PC of their favorite fighter. And we also want to give away some cards. As those subscriber numbers go up, we're looking to reach 100 on this show, and then we'll start giving some cards away, and I'll show you those lots when we get away. I've got 7 fighter lots. We're going to be giving away all of them at some point, and they all include a numbered card. So we'll show you those in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about UFC 287, and that's coming up next Saturday, April 7th, from Miami, and it's going to be a great card. So we start off in the middleweight division. The new champ, Alex Pereira, he will be defending the title for the first time against the former champion, number one contender, Israel Adesanya. So not a whole lot of buildup that needs to be done there. Those two have faced each other 3 times. Pereira has gotten the best of Izzy all 3 times, twice in kickboxing and once in the last matchup in the UFC. So Pereira, the new UFC middleweight champion, and we'll see if Izzy can get it done the 4th time against this opponent, and see if he can get that title back. So looking forward to a great matchup there in the main event. So the good thing about not having a card before is that we can get right to cards tonight. And so that's probably a good thing, because a lot of great UFC podcasts have, current UFC fighters, former UFC fighters, and they can break down fights and talk about that all day. The good thing is I'm going to talk about it as it relates to the hobby, and as we're going forward, kind of matchups to make going forward. And so we don't spend a lot of time breaking down fights on here, just because that's not our forte. Our forte is collecting cards. So the co-main event this weekend, welterweight division, top 15 matchup, Gilbert Burns, ranked number 5, against number 11 Jorge Masvidal. And that has a lot of title implications to go along with it. I think that if Gilbert Burns can pull out a victory, that he may be next in line for a title shot against Leon Edwards. But Jorge Masvidal and Leon Edwards have a lot of history, and I'm sure that Leon Edwards would love to get his hands on Jorge Masvidal at some point down the road. And Jorge has to win this fight in order for that to happen. Dana White said that Colby Covington has the next title shot at the welterweight level. So some consternation with Leon Edwards. He does not want to see that. Said he will not sign that contract, but the boss is going to make that happen if he wants it to. But Jorge Masvidal could throw a wrench in that this weekend should he pull out a victory over Gilbert Burns. So it'd be fun to watch what happens in that matchup here this weekend at UFC 287. Another welterweight matchup on the main card, Kevin Holland against Santiago Ponzinibbio. Just a good solid matchup there to put on the main card. And then we have in the bantamweight division, something that people in the hobby are going to be looking forward to, is Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Christian Rodriguez. May see Raul Rosas Jr. make his way into that 2023 Prism. We haven't seen a checklist come out yet. I've been looking every day to make sure that checklist comes out. Still haven't seen it added as of yet. As soon as we do, then we'll kind of break it down here on the show and go through it, because I'm looking forward to see what rookies are on there. We know that Pereira is going to be in there, probably Aaron Blanchfield, but who knows after that. It'd be kind of a wild card to see what kind of rookies that we have coming out in 2023. Another top 15 matchup, and this one in the bantamweight division. And we've got number 6 Rob Font against number 12 Adrian Yanez. Looking forward to that matchup. Adrian Yanez trying to make his way up in a really stacked bantamweight division and make a name for himself against Rob Font, who's just kind of been on that edge on the outside looking in, with everybody in the bantamweight division just gunning for Aljamain Sterling. Even the prelims, really good couple of matchups on the prelims this weekend. You've got a top 15 matchup in the middleweight division with number 13 Kelvin Gastelum against number 14 Chris Curtis. Gastelum had to pull out of a fight in January, but he's ready to go now. Then in the welterweight division, another ranked matchup, number 13 Michael Chiesa taking on the Li Jiangleng. So that'll be a good fight to watch. And then the women's strawweight division, a ranked matchup between number 10 Michelle Watterson Gomez and number 14 Luana Pinheiro. So like we said, it's going to be a great card this weekend. It'll be fun to talk about when we come back here next Sunday, here on April 9th. And you can catch us every Sunday at 9 p.m. Central Time right here on YouTube. And I hope that you subscribe and that we can get those numbers up and start giving some cards away. So, as you know, later on the show we'll be opening this box of 2015 Topps Chronicles. And we're looking forward to that here in just a little bit. But let's kind of go through the rest of the schedule, not all of it, but just kind of hitting some highlights and some things that have kind of materialized over the last week or so. So we know that after this week's pay-per-view event that we've got a fight night coming up on April 15th in Kansas City. And that'll be a huge matchup in the featherweight division between the number 1 contender Max Holloway and the number 4 contender Arnold Allen. And you would think that the winner of that matchup will get the winner of Alexander Volkanovski and Yair Rodriguez that we think is going to be coming up at UFC 290 this summer. But if Volk wins against Yair Rodriguez, then he won't face Max Holloway again. So that could open some things up for Arnold Allen should he win that matchup. Then looking ahead, the headliner for Fight Night on April 22nd at the Apex in Las Vegas, Sergey Pavlovich against Curtis Blades in the heavyweight division, number 3 against number 4. And then we get to April 29th, we get 2 pay-per-views. Oh, excuse me, I misspoke there. It's going to be at the Apex in Las Vegas, UFC Vegas 72. Armin Tsarukyan against Renato Moicano in the lightweight division, number 8 against number 13. That'll headline that event. You know that I'm looking forward to that one, and just make no bones about it. The UFC debut of Haley Cowan-Brennan against Jamie Lynn Horth in the women's bantamweight division. That'll be the first fight of the night. Haley Cowan, Baylor alum, and I'm a Baylor alum, and so I'm really pulling for Haley. And you know, as her cards come out, now I'll start to PC Haley, and just really looking forward to that release whenever that is down the road. But that's somebody I'm going to be keeping my eye on, just because there's that connection. That's my alma mater, and she's the first one to come out of Baylor in that Central Texas area. So that's why I'm looking forward to April 29th, and looking forward to Haley Cowan and Jamie Lynn Horth in the women's bantamweight division. Then we've got UFC 288 on May 6th in Newark, New Jersey. You know, Aljamain Sterling against Henry Cejudo for the bantamweight title, and also the co-main event in the lightweight division. Number 1 contender Charles Oliveira, the former champion, against number 4 Beneil Dariush. And then as we look ahead a little bit more, some things that have come out this week, we now have a location for Fight Night on May 13th, and that's in Charlotte, North Carolina. That just released this week, and that'll be Anthony Smith against Johnny Walker, number 5 against number 7 in the light heavyweight division. And then as we go down, we look a little bit more kind of at UFC 289, because, you know, we've heard a lot about UFC 287 and UFC 288 and even UFC 290 that we're looking ahead to see in John Jones and Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title, probably Volkanovski against Yair Rodriguez as the co-main event, but we haven't heard a lot about UFC 289. And we know that that's going to be on June 10th, and they haven't decided a location yet, but it came out this week that the front runner for that location is probably going to be Calgary. So looking forward to see what kind of event the UFC puts on for UFC 289, and if indeed Calgary ends up with that spot. Now we know that coming up the week after that on June 17th, don't think it's been set in stone yet, but we're looking at a main event on June 17th of Josh Emmett and Ilia Topuria in the featherweight division. So another huge title implication matchup. Ilia Topuria trying to vault himself into that number 1 contender status, and should Volkanovski hold on to that title and, you know, put himself up there in contention for that title if Volk holds on. Just about time to get into this box of Chronicles, but just another couple of rumored matchups that we'll talk about before we get into our card segment of the show. And we know that this summer, we talked about it a little bit last week, a rumored matchup in the heavyweight division, the return of Tom Aspinall, who I collect, number 5 ranked heavyweight, should be making his return. It looks like he'll be returning against the number 10 ranked heavyweight Marcin Tybura. We've also heard last week that Cody Garbrandt looking at a rematch with Dominic Cruz. And then other rumored fights that just kind of materialized this week is we've got Paulo Costa and Khamzat Chimaev, and also Shavkat Rakhmonov and Bilal Muhammad. And those would be just huge matchups. Costa and Chimaev in the middleweight division, and then Rakhmonov and Muhammad in the welterweight division. So keep an eye on those rumors, and we'll talk about those every week, just those fights that may or may not materialize, and what's going forward involving fighters in the hobby that people are looking out for, especially people like Shavkat Rakhmonov and Khamzat Chimaev, just big names in the hobby right now that we can all look forward to. So before we get into this box of 2015 Chronicles, we do want to give an update on our 2023 Prism. Not a whole lot has changed here in the last week. So we're still looking at an April 28th release date for the hobby boxes, and those will be about $300 a piece. Those are 12 cards per pack, 12 packs. On average, 2 autographs per box, 22 parallels, and 12 inserts. And there's also an undercard edition that's coming out this year, similar to the H2 in Select. Those will be about $200. Those will be available on May 10th. And those are 9 cards per pack, 10 packs, on average 1 autograph, 18 inserts or parallels, and 1 base variation. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out in that undercard edition for Prism this year. But we'll keep an eye on those release dates. Sometimes those get pushed back. Hopefully they don't get pushed back too far, because we want to open some of those on this show. And like I said before, and I'll say it again now, that everything that is bought on this show for this year will all go towards purchasing cards to buy to open on the show. So anything that you buy, anything you want to donate, not going to go too far into that, but just know that it's going to go back into buying cards. And we're going to do this for a year, and we're going to be committed to opening as many cards as we can just for you. I'm kicking around a lot of ideas right now. So if you're listening, drop a line in the chat. Tell us who you collect, and we'll be on a lookout for it. Another thing that I'm kicking around, and I didn't want this to be a break show. There's a lot of those out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just wanted to open cards and make them as available as I can to everybody. One thing I was kicking around, and you can tell me if it's a terrible idea or not, was making it like a year-long break, and that you buy one fighter and you get them for the whole year. And anything that we open that you get over the course of the rest of the year, you would buy into that, and you would buy that fighter, and you would have them for the rest of 2023. Until we, as many 2023 products as we open, you will have that fighter. So thinking maybe selling 100 fighters at $200 a piece. Who knows if that's crazy? Just tell me it is. Just something that I'm kicking around. This is a new show, so I want to do new things, and I want to try whatever works. I want to make this the show that you want it to be, and so that's an idea I just had. And if you have other ideas, let me know, and you can find me at Russ at orange-fire.com, at FightCardsRuss on Twitter, or at OrangeFire Media. You can also find me on Facebook, and also the title sponsor, Orange Fire Media. You can find it all on Facebook and wherever on social media. Just really easy to find, and really easy to get in touch with me and let me know what you like about the show, what can be better. Obviously, the production can be a lot better because I have to produce it myself, but we're working on that as well. Working on getting guests on the show. As soon as I can get it, I can grow a third hand that I can get a guest on here and everything. So just know that we're working on it, and that I hope to make this as the best possible that I can with what we have to work with, and that'll just continue to grow. We're in episode 10, so I'm not expecting the world right now, and just know that we're working on making it better, and that'll all be because of you. And thanks for your support, everybody who's been here for the last 10 weeks, and everybody that's joining in now. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to great things. We're looking forward to giving away cards on this show, and that's where I'm going to start right now. So we are going to give away cards. When we get to 100 subscribers, we're going to give away 7 card lots. And so we've got 7 fighters that we've picked out that I've gathered over the last year, and each one of these lots contains a numbered card. So we're going to start here in the middle. And you see we've got this huge John Jones lot. So let's put that Chronicles to the side. We'll open that in a minute. We've got a huge John Jones lot, and we start with this Phoenix from 2022 Chronicles, numbered to 199, but just a huge John Jones. I believe it's 20 cards right now. So you can see all of those, little My House Prism in there. So all of those John Jones cards that we're giving away for free. For free, that means that all you have to do is subscribe, hit that button on YouTube. We added Glover Teixeira last week, so we're going to give away this Glover Teixeira, this numbered prism to $2.99. Also includes some other prisms and nice looking origins. Then we're also giving away Jan Blachowicz. This one numbered to 99. See the black from Chronicles. Some optic and even a 2021 prism thrown in there. A Robert Whitaker lot. See that Phoenix right there on top. A lot of different Robert Whitakers to throw in there. Last male fighter, Justin Gaethje. Optic Contenders season ticket, number to 199. A little silver prism thrown in there. Some Chronicles and a silver optic. So nice little Justin Gaethje lot for, not bad for a giveaway, right? And then we added Miesha Tate last week. Got this red Origins, it's numbered. Got the base Origins. Some more Miesha Tate. It's a lot good mixture if you're just looking to start a collection. This might be a good place to start. And then the last one, Holly Holm, there's a Chronicles Elite numbered to 99 that we're giving away in the huge Holly Holm lot. The most cards is John Jones, and Holly Holm is a close second. So we're giving away all 7 of those at some point. So something to look forward to. Then before we get into what we've pulled over the last couple of weeks, we're going to talk about our hobby top 5. And that is the top 5 fighters as far as the hobby goes right now. And it's unchanged because there wasn't any reason to change this week because we had no events and no new release on products. So we're going to stick with the same 5 and not a whole lot of explanation needed. Number 5, Khabib Nurmagomedov. And it's interesting, Khabib no longer active, but still he's in every product. He has pretty much an insert of every variation of card. And so Khabib's value is still holding strong, and it keeps him in that number 5 spot in our hobby top 5. Number 4, Islam Makhachev. No explanation needed on the rest of these. Number 3, Sean O'Malley. Number 2, Hamzat Chimaev. And our number 1 for the last 4 weeks, since he was last in action, Shavkat Rakhmonov. And Shavkat's cards are just skyrocketing, and that is who everybody's looking for. When people ask, people who are just getting into the hobby, they always ask about the same people, and it's usually some variation of those 5 names. So that rounds out our hobby top 5 for this week, and we'll see what happens this weekend, see if that changes any. So that's a segment that we do every week, and hopefully it'll start to change at some point. So I do want to let everybody know kind of what we've pulled the last couple of weeks. And last week we opened a box of 2020 Topps. It was a hobby box, and the biggest card that we pulled out of that was a Kai Kara France 1/1 magenta printing plate. And that one went quickly. We sold that one last week, so I appreciate Steven for buying that card and contributing to the success of this show, because that sale is going to contribute to our purchase of Prism going forward. So I want to let you know we opened some Immaculate a few weeks ago. Just wanted to let you know that I still have most everything that we pulled from Immaculate. We got a Tisha Torres memorabilia, Tai Tuivasa memorabilia. These are all numbered at 99. These kind of go in order of what they're numbered. Matt Brown autograph, all-time greats. Matt Brown's got a fight coming up May 13th against Court McGee in Charlotte. Francis Ngannou jumbo memorabilia to 99. Derek Lewis, memorabilia auto, number to 99. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, autograph memorabilia to 99. Zhangwei Li, the Moments, number to 99. And here we go with the more rare numbers. First with the Mark Coleman all-time greats. That's numbered to 10. Then we've got the Henry Cejudo, the 3 of 4, the jumbo memorabilia that we pulled. Got the F in the UFC logo. Also, the Yuri Prochazka, the base red, numbered to 25. And like I said, I collect Tom Aspinall, and then we actually pulled this one on the show, the Shadow Box, numbered to 99 autograph. So I was happy to really get that one. I just want to let you know some of the things we have. I have a lot box is what I call it. I have a lot of fighter lots broken down, much like the ones that we're giving away. And just want to show you some of the best stuff that we have from that. We've got a Stipe Miocic from Chronicles and Crown Royale. And this one is actually memorabilia autograph. This one's a bookend. So this one's numbered 49 of 49. And got another Stipe that's numbered to 49, and another one that's, I think it's an Elite Chronicles, numbered to 199. So I've got 3 numbered Stipes, if anybody collects Stipe. And all of these are available to you. These are not for my personal collection. These are for yours. So anything's available. Once again, contact us, Russ at orange-fire.com, on social media, at FightCardsRuss or at OrangeFireMedia on Twitter. So I'm going to take these cards back, the ones that we're going to be giving away, hopefully here in a few weeks. So we need to get those subscriber numbers up to 100, looking for that goal first. So anybody who you think would be interested in this show, just let them know. All you have to do is subscribe, and you get entered to win some of these giveaways. So now's the time in the show where we get into our hobby box, and really looking forward to this one this week with, kind of an old school product, kind of in the mid-range. The 2015 Topps Chronicles, and we'll see what's on the way. Next week we'll be opening a box of 2021 Panini Chronicles, so we've got that on the way. I would show it, but I don't have it yet. So we're kind of filling in until that Prism gets here. So we're kind of looking for the best deal on hobby boxes. If you have anything that you see out there, let me know. And I may go pick it up, and we'll open it on the show next week. So kind of looking for something for the week after next. We got next week taken care of. Should have that box coming in this week, and we'll be opening. Kind of like to open stuff that we haven't opened yet. So we've kind of gone through all of our 2022 product. I've opened a lot of Donruss, Optic, Chronicles, Prism. I've opened 1 box of Prism. We did that here on the show. And the 2 boxes of Immaculate. So I like to look for stuff that we haven't done before. And so that's why I picked up the 2021 Chronicles from 2 years ago. And now we've got this box of 2015 Topps Chronicles. So it's really interesting to see what we can pull out of here. So I know that you've all been waiting for this, and I've been talking long enough, almost 30 minutes. It's amazing that I can kill that much time with no UFC card, but got to make a show out of it, right? I appreciate everybody sticking with us. So here we go. Here you see 2 autographs and 3 relics in every box on average. And you can see there Ronda Rousey, Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, Conor McGregor on the cover of the box. put half of those up. Well, we'll just do it that way. It's kind of easier. So here we go. First pack, 2015 Topps Chronicles. And like I said, everything is available to you. So hopefully we get something good out of here. So wish us luck. And we'll go through every card for everybody who listens on the audio only version. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you get your podcasts. We'll be on there, and I'll talk about every card. So if you want to go back and look later on YouTube, you'll be able to see these. So if something catches your ear, just shoot me a message, and we'll go through it. And maybe we'll add these to our fighter lots if we get some of those. So Mark Munoz, Leslie Smith, Kelvin Gastelum, Shane Carwin, Eddie Gordon, Ross Pearson, Anthony Rumble Johnson, Tarek Sefadine, Michael the Count Bisping, BJ Penn, Darren Cruikshank, Habib Nurmagomedov, Michelle Watterson. Just signed a new deal with the UFC this week. Dominic Cruz, Cub Swanson, CB Dollaway, Ronda Rousey. Look at that, old school Charles Oliveira. Gilbert Melendez, Chris Holdsworth, John Makdessi, and Octagon of Honor Hoist Gracie. And then we've got a numbered card coming up here. Raquel Pennington, 140 of 288. It's a green. So these are some big packs, so it takes a little bit longer to go through these. See, Nick Lentz, Rashad Evans. Look at this, another Stipe Miocic numbered card. I've got 4 now, just sitting here. So Stipe. This one's numbered 56 of 188. So done pretty well pulling Stipe this year. Even the 4 that I have, I had sold at least one autograph. And probably a couple of other numbered cards of Stipe leading up to this. So if you collect Stipe, I'm your guy, because I've done pretty well pulling those. These are stuck together, so we can get those. Scott Jorgensen. And then we've got a Fight Night card, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Jessica Penne. So those are pretty cool out of this edition. It looks like the fight poster. And victorious debut, Kat Zingano. She was actually in action this weekend and got it done this weekend. So pulling that one out and, kind of looking back 8 years, and Kat's still going. So we've got that insert. And then John Dodson, Ryan Bader, Rory McDonald, and 12-gauge Paige Van Zandt. Then we've got UFC 117 card there. Anderson Silva against Chael Sonnen. These packs are just huge. Rustam Kabilov. Jessica I. Conor McGregor. Royce Gracie, Eric Perez, Dominic Cruz, and that's the last one. That was one pack. That was one pack of cards. So that was fun. And we've got a whole bunch more. How awesome is that? $40 cards in one pack. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 10 packs. So 140 cards. Leon Edwards. Hector Lombard. Tony Ferguson. TJ Dillashaw. Mark Hunt. The Ultimate Fighter 20. That was the all-women's edition. So Carla Esparza in there. I believe Rose, I was reading this earlier today. Rose Namajunas was in there. Jessica Penne. Chad Mendez. Another Paige Van Zant. Royce Gracie. Demetrius Johnson, Rafael Natal, Kyoji Horiguchi, Clay Guida, John Lineker, Sage Northcutt, Fabricio Verdum, Betch Correa, Joe Stevenson, Junior Dos Santos, Gian Vellante, Court McGee. We talked about that earlier, that he and Matt Brown will be facing each other on May 13th in Charlotte, North Carolina. There we go. Octagon of Honor, BJ Penn. We get to some of our number cards here. So we got a CB Dalloway green. That's our third number card. Gunnar Nelson, saw him get a win a couple of weeks ago against Brian Barberena. Nate Diaz for my boy Emmanuel Robles. So got a Nate for you there, E. Ovin St. Preux, got the numbered card there, numbered to 188. Keep going here. Liz Carmouche. Then I'd like to see Panini go back to these. These are pretty fun. UFC 148, Silva versus Sonnen. Griffin versus Ortiz 3. That's pretty cool. Victorious debut, Ronda Rousey. Another Ryan Bader. Rory McDonald. And there we go. That's that pack. Back to Paige Van Zant. Pack number 3. Takes a while. 40 cards per pack. Ronda Marcos. Gedalia versus Latamaki. Miles Jury. Juliana Pena. Brian Caraway. Leonardo Silva dos Santos, Dan Henderson, Tim Kennedy, Albert Tumanoff, Nate Marquardt, Al Iaquinta, Antonio Rogerio Noguera, big knock, Juliana Lima, another one of these matchup cards, UFC 78, Michael Bisping versus Rashad Evans, Scott Jorgensen, Tiles Latisse, Lesnar versus Carwin, UFC 116, Max Holloway, Dan Miller. Here we go, the UFC and WEC merge. Got an autograph card here, and it is Juliana Pena. So, actually collect Juliana a little bit. So, it's a good one for me. No number on that one, but happy to have it. Another autograph to add to my Juliana Pena collection. I can be talked out of it, though. It's like my Tom Aspinalls. Climbing the ranks, Carla Esparza. And another numbered card here, Tony Ferguson. The green 288. And we'll go through all the hits at the end. Keep those to the side, and we'll go back through them. These 2015 packs are fun to go through. Jose Aldo from UFC 123. Oh, man, Emmanuel, you're doing well tonight, brother. Tough retrospectives, Nate Diaz. So we'll keep that for Emmanuel. And another number. This is our lowest number so far. Amanda Nunes. So that was numbered to 88. Anthony Pettis. That's pretty cool. UFC 189. Mendez versus McGregor. Interim featherweight championship. I was actually in Vegas that night when McGregor won that fight. It's pretty cool to see. Victorious debut, Korean Zombie. Eric Silva, Darren Elkins, Tisha Torres, Jacare Souza, Rose Namajunas with the braids there. I believe might be a rookie for Rose. I don't know if they designate those in this edition. We'll have to go back and look at that. John Howard, still going on this pack. Tom Lawler, Rich Franklin, Mitch Clark, Owen St. Preux, Dan Severn, And then back to the beginning, the Ronda Marcos card. So pretty good there. Amanda Nunes under 100 and a Juliana Pena autograph. Not even halfway done. It's going to take a while. So glad we didn't have a whole lot of fights to talk about. So here we go with UFC 89, Barron versus Miller. Ben Rothwell. Alexei Olenek. Edgar versus Maynard. UFC 136. Jake Ellenberger. Colby Covington making quite a lot of news this week. In line to fight Leon Edwards, we think. Rousey versus Carmouche, UFC 157. Matt Brown. Ricardo Lamas. Tony Ferguson. Frankie Edgar. Sorry about that. Just you talked for a little while and I've been kind of battling the allergies here the last couple of weeks and have to take a break. That's what you get with the one-man show. Sorry about that. So Luke Rockhold, Nikita Krylov, Uriah Faber, Michael Chiesa, St. Pierre versus Hendricks, Alistair Overeem, Brian Stan. We got another autograph coming up. Actually, this is not an autograph. This is a fighter-worn memorabilia. Luke Rockhold. It's a little bit thicker. I don't know. Yeah, we'll keep that Luke Rockhold to the side until I can find a sleeve. I do have a sleeve that fits this one. I just don't have it in front of me. So Luke Rockhold Fighter Worn Memorabilia. Is there a number on that one? There is not. Climbing the ranks, Yoel Romero. We go Ryan Bader, numbered to 188. We go Holly Holm. Another one we can add to the lot. It's a pretty good one to add to it. Might put that one at 20 now. GSP, George St. Pierre. Got a numbered Tarek Seferdine in green. Keep going, finish off this pack. Dan Miller. Ultimate Fighter, Team Rampage versus Team Forest finale. Really like those. Victorious debut, Joe Lauzon. RDA, Rafael dos Anjos. GSP, Uriah Hall. Edson Barboza. Jim Miller. And there we go, back to the Nate Diaz. Actually, got a few in that pack, so because that's not the end of the pack. Dennis Bermudez and Brad Pickett. Then Esparza versus Namajunas in the Ultimate Fighter 20 finale. Chris Carrizo, Barron versus Miller. And I believe that one was the first card. So we're almost halfway done. This would be the fifth pack out of 10. So Raquel Pennington, Rich Franklin, and a Nick Diaz, Amanda Nunes, Frankie Perez, RDA, Daniel Cormier, Ayuri Alcantara, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, new Hall of Famer Jens Pulver, Antonio Silva, Michael Bisping, Tyron Woodley, Beneil Dariush, Uriah Hall, Renan Barao, Jussier Formiga, TJ Grant, Ramsey Nijam, Carlos Condit, got an autograph coming up, Jared Rosholt, so we pulled 2 autographs. That is on average what you get in 3 relics. So we've gotten 2 autographs. We had the Juliana Pena earlier. And we've got 1 relic so far, the Luke Rockhold. Octagon of Honor, Forrest Griffin. And, James Vick, the green. Keep going with this pack. Travis Brown, RDA, Nick Lentz, 188. Max Holloway. Then we've got Aldo versus Mendez. Belfort versus Johnson. Victorious debut, Sage Northcutt. Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Anderson Silva. Michael Bisping. Ruslan Magomedov. Dennis Seaver, Thiago Trator, Sean Jordan, Amir Sodala, Francisco Trinaldo, Ian McCall, Diego Sanchez, back to the beginning of Raquel Pennington. So we're halfway done now. We've got 2 autos and 1 memorabilia card out of the way. See if we can get lucky with 1 more auto. Got 2 memorabilia cards that we're on the lookout for. UFC 147, Alcantara versus Diaz. Jose Aldo. Aisling Daly. Another Jose Aldo from UFC 123. Gunnar Nelson. Ross Pearson. Patrick Cote. Derek Brunson. Benson Henderson. Brad Tavares. Tim Means. Misha Tate that we will add to our Misha Tate lot. Gracie versus Jimerson at UFC 1. Tim Betch. Neil Magny. Sarah Kaufman. Joe Duffy. Andre Arlovsky. Jessica Andrade. Nick Hine. Royce Gracie. Octagon of Honor, Ronda Rousey. Here we go. A green, Matt Mitrione. See what else we have left in this hobby box. It's a little more fun than the 2020. You see all these great names and Hall of Famers in here. Alcantara versus Diaz. Uriah Hall. Heather Joe Clark. Green. A lot of people just getting into the hobby, they watch UFC for a long time and never started collecting cards and really like to collect these legends. And so you see a lot of that these days, and so happy to hook everybody up with all the, I've got a bunch of legend stuff that we can certainly hook you up with. Some of these cards stuck together. It's been 8 years they've been in this box together. Another one of those UFC and WEC merge. See, another one of these fight posters, really cool. UFC Fight Night, Hunt versus Nelson. Victorious debut, Alistair Overeem, Anthony Pettis, Chris Galatis, Glover Teixeira. We'll add that to our lot. Stephen Bonner, Diego Brandao, Forrest Griffin. Another Forrest Griffin, those back-to-back. Tough retrospectives. Damian Maia, Rashad Evans, Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier. And then back to that Alcantara versus Diaz to finish off. Halfway done. It's 40 card packs or something. So we'll take a break here for a second. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. It's pretty exciting as we get into pack number 6 out of 10 here in this 2015 Topps Chronicles. Just here in episode 10 of the UFC Fight Cards podcast, presented by Orange Fire Media. And we try to open a hobby box every week. So done a pretty good job of that as of late. So here, Alan Juban, Shogun Hua, Mirsad Bektic, Gray Maynard, Nick Lentz, Conor McGregor, Michael Chiesa, Travis Brown, Holly Holm, Jimmy Manua, Court McGee, Anthony Pettis, Liz Carmouche. It's interesting. The Liz Carmouche card, but that's Lauren Murphy on the card. So I saw that the last time we came across that one. So Chad Laprise, Yoel Romero, Reginaldo Vieira, Dustin Poirier, Jessica Penne. We got UFC 139, Hua versus Henderson. Matt Mitrione, and got the originals, Chris Lieben. So it's the first one of those that we've seen. Octagon of Honor, Frankie Edgar. Dennis Seaver Green. Don't know how many of these are going to hold much value now, but we'll put them away. They're numbered, so we'll see. Aisling Daly, Jim Miller, 500th UFC fight, Fitch versus Larson. That one's numbered to 88, number 84 of 88. You know, maybe before the Prism comes out later on this month, we hope. May go through that lot box and just see what we have. Just kind of go through some of the numbered cards. This is the random numbered cards that we have. Court McGee, stuck to this one. Got that fight poster. Bisping versus Evans. Victorious debut, Rustam Kabalov. Aljamain Sterling. That's pretty early on. So, don't know if Aljo has a card before that one. Weidman versus Silva, UFC 168. This is one of the first fights that I really sat down and watched, with a bunch of friends. And really, my first real taste of Anderson Silva was probably a lot different than other people's, because this is one of the first Silva fights that I saw. And Weidman got the best of him. And I subsequently saw the rematch, and I didn't know how great Silva was. Martin Kampmann, Don Fry, Silva versus Henderson, Fabio Maldonado, St. Pierre versus Serra, BJ Penn, Michelle Watterson, Misha Tate, Jorge Masvidal. Certainly looks a lot different these days. Alan Juban, Shogun Hua, Mirsad Bektic. I believe that's back to the beginning. Yep. So we're getting there. Panini doesn't go with the 40 card packs like Topps did. Still on the hunt for 2 more memorabilia cards. We've got our 2 autos already. We'll show those in a little bit. Junior Dos Santos, Gian Vellante, Court McGee, Big Nog, Juliana Lima, Corey Anderson, Joseph Benavidez, Claudia Gadelha, Fitch versus Larson. We got the 500th fight. We got the number to 88 out of that version. Habib, Michelle Watterson, Dominic Cruz, Cub Swanson, C.V. Dalloway, Ronda Rousey, Charles Oliveira, and got another Got another memorabilia, jumbo memorabilia here. Chris Weidman. Nice. Jumbo Fight Mac relic. Chris Weidman from UFC 162. I'm going to break into my other stack over here, the thicker cards. So Chris Weidman, jumbo memorabilia, nice blue mat right there. Go through those hits when we get done. Climbing the ranks, Michael Johnson, Misha Tate, another numbered card to add to our lot. A green Misha Tate. So whoever gets the Misha Tate lot is going to get 2 numbered cards. Or more. Just depends on what we open between now and then. Jose Aldo, Edson Barboza. So we got Antonio Silva. This one's numbered 188. You know what's fun about these? You know, it's something different because everybody's opening, you know, Immaculate and Optic, whatever they have left over from 2022. But, you know, just make it a little different. Just open something different. So Jimmy Manua, UFC 149, Faber versus Barao. Victorious debut, Royce Gracie. UFC 190, Rousey versus Correa. Thiago Alves. Yair Rodriguez, rookie card. Hang on to that one. Actually, that's the first designation we've seen on a rookie card there. That's not bad for the interim featherweight champion. So Yair Rodriguez, Mayerna Moroz, Mirko Krokop, Roy Nelson, Kostas Philippou, Carla Esparza, Big Nog, TJ Dillashaw, Ronda Rousey. I think we've seen all those. Hard to keep track with these big packs. So we're down to the last 2. Looking for one more relic. We've got 2 autos, 2 relics so far. See if we can get lucky. Last week when we opened that box of 2020, there were supposed to be, was it 2 autographs and 2 relics? We got a dual auto, 2 other autos, memorabilia, and we ended up with a 1-of-1 printing plate of Kaikar of France. So a lot more than we bargained for last week. So that was a pretty good box, and we got to make Steven happy with that 1-of-1 Kaikar of France magenta printing plate. So here we go. Keith Jardine, Ryan LaFleur, Ariane Celeste. Somebody will want that one. You see a lot of people want Ariane cards. Soa Palele, Jordan Main, C.B. Dalloway, Alexander Gustafsson, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Eddie Gordon, Donald Cerrone, Felice Herrig, Rampage versus Henderson. Kyoji Horiguchi. Clay Guida. John Lineker. Sage Northcutt rookie card. Fabricio Verdum. Batch Correa. Joe Stevenson. Junior Dos Santos. And a UFC debut. Mike Pierce versus Brock Larson. So they look good. UFC originals. Not numbered, but at least they stand out a little bit. Climbing the ranks, Aljamain Sterling. That young man. Certainly looks a lot different these days. Alan Juban, numbered to 188. Michael Chiesa, Daniel Cormier, and we've got a Rampage Jackson, Rampage versus Henderson numbered card right here, numbered to 188. And if my friend Marco Sullivan, if you're checking into this show, this is your show, buddy. So you let me know what legends you want out of this. Anybody else as well. So Lesnar versus Carwin. I think that's the second time we've seen that one. And then, this is the famous one. Michael Bisping took the title from Luke Rockhold, the Conceive, Believe, Achieve. And then victorious debut, Paige Van Zandt. Jose Aldo, Olivier Aubin Mercier, Anderson Silva, Diego Brandao, Joe Lauzon, Demetrius Johnson, Chris Weidman, Robbie Lawler, Gray Maynard, Johnny Hendricks, Eddie Wineland, Keith Jardine, there we go. So we got one more pack. Should have a memorabilia card in this pack. Had 2 autos and 2 memorabilia, so if the odds are right on the box, should have sorry, one more memorabilia card in here. So hopefully it's a good one. So here we go. UFC Fight Night 3, Ludwig versus Goulet, Chris Weidman, Josh Saman, Demetrius Johnson, Josh Dodson, Ben Saunders, Sarah McMahon, Elias Teodoro, passed away earlier last year. All know that story. Kat Zingano, Corey Anderson, John Vellante, Court McGee, Big Nog, Juliana Lima, Corey Anderson, Joseph Benavidez, Claudia Gadelha, Fitch versus Larson again. And here we go with our other relic, and it is Tisha Torres. So this is actually the second relic that we've pulled on this show. We got a Tisha Torres memorabilia card out of the Immaculate that we pulled. So, got some pretty good Tisha Torres cards out of our little show here. So that one's not numbered. I don't know what the odds are on those. Have to find the holders for those. The ones that are not quite so thick, I got some. They're just not right in front of me, but we'll get that one taken care of. And we'll go through all of our hits here in a second. Juliana Pena, Octagon of Honor. Got the autograph that we pulled earlier. There we go. Frankie Edgar numbered, the green 288. This is our longest show so far, just because these cards are 40 cards per pack. Got to remember that next time I open some old Topps cards. Conor McGregor, Stipe Miocic, and a Jose Aldo numbered. You know, that is like the first Jose Aldo anything that I've pulled this year. I just keep setting them to the side because it's just nothing that I've pulled of Jose. And so get a numbered card there. And go through the rest of the pack here. Some of these stuck together after 8 years in a box. We go Jackson versus Griffin. Talis Laitis, Jimmy Manua, Jared Rossolt, Thomas Almeida, Chris Camazzi, Efren Escudero, Frankie Edgar, Uriah Faber, Rampage Jackson, Valerie Letourneau, Kelvin Gastelum, Thiago Santos before the sword tattoo on his chest, and James Vick. Ludwig versus Goulet, Fight Night 3, and Chris Weidman, I believe that's back to the front of that pack. So that's it. That is it for the 2015 Topps Chronicles. Let's go back and see what we got. All the numbered cards. The greens are numbered to 288. So Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar. Memorabilia cards. Tisha Torres. Black and white. UFC 275. Rampage versus Henderson. These are numbered to 188. So we'll put these here. Juban, 188. Antonio Silva, 188. Misha Tate. And that'll go in our fighter giveaway. If you subscribe, you're entered into the giveaways automatically. We have a Misha Tate lot, and that one's now going to include 2 numbered cards with that one. The Chris Weidman Jumbo Memorabilia from UFC 162. Got the Fitch versus Larson, that one numbered to 88. Put that one there. Dennis Seaver, 288. Heather Jo Clark, 288. Matt Mitrione. Nick Lentz, 188. James Vick, 288. Jared Rossolt autograph. Tarek Seferdine, 288. Ryan Bader, 188. The Luke Rockhold Fighter Warden Memorabilia. Amanda Nunes, numbered to 88. Tony Ferguson, green, 288. And Juliana Pena autograph. Oven St. Preux to 188. CB Dalloway, 288. Stipe Miocic, 188. So now I've got 4 Stipe numbered cards in my possession right now. Raquel Pennington, green, 288. So there we go. So the big ones out of that one, the Pena autograph. That's fun to have. The Weidman Jumbo memorabilia, and then the Luke Rockhold and Tisha Torres Fighter Worn memorabilia cards. So thanks everybody for joining us here on the show. I've gone way longer than I usually do just because of the size of that box. And, you know, we're going to open a hobby box every week. Next week's be a little bit shorter. Next week we're going to open 2021 Panini Chronicles. So that one won't be as quite as big as this one. And we'll try to get a hobby box every week. And we're looking forward to that Prism release coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're looking at April 28th on that. Don't know that we'll have it in time for that show that weekend, but if we do, great. If we don't, then we'll find something else to get into. Even if we have to go to the lot box, I've got plenty of stuff that we can go through and look at. But just wanted to thank everybody for supporting this show for 10 episodes now. And we're just looking to keep getting better and better, and we can't do that without your support. So please subscribe and invite your friends to subscribe, and we'll start giving away some cards here pretty soon. As soon as we reach 100 subscribers, we're going to start giving all this stuff that I open away. So I appreciate everybody being here on another Sunday night here on UFC Fight Cards, presented by Orange Fire Media, and we will see you next week after UFC 287. We'll wrap that up, and then we'll open that box of 2021 Panini Chronicles. I'm Russ Renaud. Thanks again for joining us here on your Sunday night. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week right here on UFC Fight Cards.